Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Yay! This is my 400th video since starting this channel way back in 2016. And I thought, let's do something to celebrate a bit more than usual. It's still going to be me and Ben, so calm down. All you guys are just so overanxious. I don't know what that is. I want to discuss about the early days. And I think people are still doing this, even though a lot of kids are being placed on the pump. I still think it's important that you learn the basics. And for me, I kind of learned the basics when I first started, and that was I had to sanitize everything. And in the hospital, we were taught how to make sure things were boiling and that, we killed whatever bacteria so that we wouldn't get infected wounds when we injected. Then I went to the drugstore and gave the prescription. They said, "Oh, well, we have disposable needles now. You don't have to worry about getting all this other stuff." And it was like, and I would have to say, I have contributed to the garbage. But I've also tried to do things a little less repetitive all the time. So, along with that is learning how to eat. And I think the best thing for any new diabetic is learning how to inject. There's nothing worse, and I can speak, I was one of the worst about learning how to do a shot. I could draw it up, no problem. Once it pierced the skin, I was able to do it. I just couldn't pierce the skin. I just wanted someone to guide my hands. And then I learned how to do things. It just became, and I was watching a video the other day. This is all tied in, trust me. And it was a lady who went through and got, when she was diagnosed, they gave her diagnosis story. And she said that her nurse said, "Oh, one day it'll all become so common to you." Unfortunately, it's true. And you need to learn how to get things common for you. You don't want to be like me and sit there and hesitate. And the hesitation in diabetes kind of popped its little evil head. This is a little evil head. Again, when I first got my glucometer, I didn't like the click sound. It used to be called a guillotine, and that was the first Lancet device. And it would go click and poof. And the worst thing was, I always had time to pull my hand away. It was that slow of it was fast, but it was slow. And, any child who is diagnosed with diabetes will tell you shots and the blood tests are the worst. But someone like me, blood tests they don't even hurt anymore. And the big trick is do it around the sides. And I can't really hold up. But the sides, don't do it on your pad, because the pad is where the nerve endings are. And that's what's going to hurt. And you may get a pump. You may get continuous glucose sensors. You may go all out. But I think every kid should learn how to do things correctly the first time. And you know what? Because one day you're going to be out there and your pump's going to fail. You're going to have to inject insulin. You're going to have to know how to do it. Because I can tell you, if your pump fails, you only have, within 4 hours, if no insulin is given, you're going to end up in DKA again. And the whole thing starts over again. Like, oh, I'm so thirsty. Oh. I would like to go back and read my medical file from my first hospital stay. I want to know if I was actually in DKA. I was drinking a lot. I think my body, if I wasn't, I did throw up beforehand. So, but I had to learn, I taught how to boil, how to sharpen the needle. That was fun. Then we were given all this reading material. And I've told you that years ago, and this isn't done anymore. And it was, they would give me my morning insulin and then they wouldn't feed me. And the whole idea was that you would start feeling low. And it was sort of like in a controlled environment, you could see what a low felt like. But you know what? Thinking back at it, what were we thinking back then? I don't suggest you do that. Don't do that whatsoever. Because it's so hard for me. It was only my heart was pumping. Later, after I'd been a diabetic for a while, I'd start getting the tingle around my mouth. And you know what? It was okay. And then for a while, my vision went in this eye. Well, it didn't go, but I was seeing double. So, a diabetic will learn along the way. And now, there's blood testing devices where if you think you're low, test. Back then, we didn't have that. We had good old urine tests. And try to go out for dinner and do a urine test in the bathroom. And then they got sticks, which they still have today. But now you see they've got ketone machines, and it's like, oh, how much easier things are. Yeah, you have to do a little prick on your finger. I would love every diabetic to get an insulin pump. I think free diabetic supplies for type 1s. Because type 1s have done nothing to deserve this. Type 2 could be a different story. And type 2 is you bring it upon yourself. Or, sorry, not everyone of type 2. Sorry, I should clarify. Some type 2s, my aunt was always active. She was always thin. And, she got type 2. So it's not, yes, there's an awful lot of people who let themselves go in life and eat too much and gain too much weight, and their bodies just can't keep up. But type 1s, it's not sort of like one day, okay, I'm going to attack my own beta cells and I'm going to make myself a diabetic. So, because everyone needs air to live. It's not, what do you call it? It's not, it's something we need to live. And, type 1 diabetics have the hard time. They keep hearing about all these magical cures, and it's always type 2. So I would say my biggest message for this is A, back to basics. B, free diabetic supplies for all diabetics. C, I was going to say 3, but C is don't let diabetes control you. You control diabetes. And in doing this, if you're on a pump, make sure you know how to do the basics, how to draw up a syringe, how to give yourself a shot. Hope this helps a bit. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye now.